Coming up next is Marvel News number 95, the All Festivus edition. And we're going to talk about, the big X-Men vs. Avengers crossover 12-part multi-epic that is coming your way this 2012. We're also going to talk about Brian Bendis and how he's leaving the Avengers. We're going to talk about Jason Aaron's and how he's leaving Wolverine. We're going to talk about the new creative team on Astonishing X-Men who just got fired off another book, but they're getting rehired on Astonishing. And we're going to wrap it all up with the return of the Age of Apocalypse. All that and more after this.
Brain surgeon to bongo drummer, we all love Marvel News.
Cool. Define utmost. Marvel Comic Book News, episode 95, Tequila and Fabric Softener.
Ho, 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 and a bottle of rum. Merry Christmas, folks. Comic Book Man here. Welcome once again to my video outhouse. It's time for
Marvel News.
Marvel News. Marvel News number 95, which is coming to you from this place. Alternate Reality, which is located at the intersection of 111th and Kedzie in beautiful downtown Mount Greenwood. Alternate Reality, where all new comics, including all my Marvel comics, are always 15% off every day for everyone, even for folks like you.
Hey, what about that bottle of rum?
Oh, you should have gotten one for Christmas. You should have gotten one for Christmas.
Mine was good.
Yeah. He just drank it before we went on air. Anyway, our first story up involves the big crossover event for 2012, X-Men Avengers coming to you from Marvel. 12 issues of wonderment coming from the Marvel Universe.
Avengers versus the X-Men.
Well, Avengers versus X-Men. Avengers, X-Men, Avengers
the
versus
teaser that Marvel had, they mentioned the point one issue where Nova's coming, saying Phoenix is coming.
Yes.
And the one they put up where you saw Phoenix and you said it's coming.
It's coming.
That has been revealed to be a 12-issue bi-weekly series called Avengers versus X-Men.
Which means it'll last half a year for those of you.
Yeah, it's a 6 month. It's basically a 6 month deal. Okay, it's from the team of Brian Michael Bendis, Jason Aaron, Jonathan Hickman, Ed Brubaker, Matt Fraction, Frank Cho, John Romita Jr., Oliver Coipel, and Adam Kubert.
That's a lot.
It's all the architect writers and 4 of Marvel's big artists.
That's everybody.
Now the series,
Practically.
the series is going to start in April. It's going to revolve around Hope Summers because the Phoenix Force, as we learned in point one, is coming to Earth, and the Avengers go. It's probably going to go to Hope Summers because we think that she's going to get it. So we want to take her into protective custody. And of course, Scott Summers goes, "Screw that! She's an X-Man! No way!" And so they start to fight.
And so you have chocolate and peanut butter, and you put them together, and they fight.
Now, you get a prologue of Avengers vs. X-Men 0 from Brian Michael Bendis and Frank Cho, which will basically revolve around the Scarlet Witch, because this will be the first time the Scarlet Witch has hung out with the Avengers since she popped up in House of M, and they issue those words, No More Mutants, which is the other reason why Scott Summers is like, screw that, you're not taking her. Now, the deal here is, each issue will only have one writer. So it's been laid out by, they all talked about it, they all got it together.
12 issues, 12 writers?
12 issues of the writers that we mentioned.
Yeah.
So they're going to alternate writing duties on
Okay,
issue.
Like 4 writers.
Okay, all the writers talked about what the story is, then Bendis and Aaron basically broke it down into bullet points, and so every issue will be written by one of those architects. The 4 artists working on the book, because Cho's only doing the Prelude book, they're going to do 4 issues apiece, and these are going to be in arcs, so every one of their arcs will have one double-sized issue, big issue. Kubert, of course, is last because he's the slowest of the 3.
Put him on the end.
And so is the end. Now, this event will not involve the entire Marvel Universe. There's only going to be one connected tie-in series to this, and it'll only be involving the X-Men and Avengers titles, except for Avengers Assemble, because that book exists for people who are going to see the movie.
Yeah.
So if you're going, well, how many tie-in books do I have to got? None.
But it's going to involve all the Avengers and all the X-Men.
It's going to involve all the...
Which is like a third of the Marvel line to begin with, right there.
And there'll be a bunch of heroes and villains popping up in this thing. And they said when this thing is all over with, there will be a definite winner in this battle.
Well, if they're going to involve all the Avengers and all the X-books, it's essentially the same thing as having crossovers for the books. I mean, you take something like Dark Reign or Siege, and all their crossovers, and if you take it's essentially the same number of books.
Yeah, but with those, though, you had limited series that were hooked up to this.
I mean, these are going to cross over for 6 months, right?
Well, no, the Avengers vs. X-Men series will tell the story.
Yeah, right.
What's going on around this series
That's your core book.
That's your core book. What's going on around this event will take place in Avengers, New Avengers.
Yeah.
And the X-books.
For 6 months.
Right, but while it's going. But it won't involve, if you have a title that doesn't have anybody who's in the Avengers in it, they won't have any connection to it at all.
It won't be an Iron Man.
Right. Well, no, Iron Man's an Avenger.
So it'll be an Iron Man. So it's even more. It's going to be an Iron Man. It's going to be in Thor. It's going to be in Cap.
But it's going to be in the regular.
Well, what book isn't it going to be in?
Well, let's see. Who's not involved?
There's
Stand and Dark Tower.
Stan,
Dark
Dark Tower. Spider-Man's an Avenger.
Spider-Man's an Avenger.
Oh, well.
Although actually,
So it's got to be in every book.
although actually, with the way Dan Slott said it, he's got his own stuff going on, so it won't be in Spider-Man at all. It'll be basically the core books. So it won't be in Wolverine either because it's a core book, but it's not. But it'll be in Wolverine versus the X-Men.
Okay. One of the creators that you mentioned in that list is Brian Michael Bendis, who has announced that he is taking a walk from the Avengers books in 2012.
Yeah, after 8 years of working on the books, Brian Bendis says before the year is over with, he will not be doing Avengers, New Avengers, and the brand new Avengers Assemble.
Pull yourself together, comic book.
Well, Avengers Assemble
you.
doesn't start till like March or April, and I think he's done the first 6 issues. So what we're talking about is by the time we get to the end of 2012, Bendis will be done with all this. He said, 8 years is long enough for anybody to be working on anything. And knowing, and so that means that Marvel's got at least 9 months to line up new writers for these books.
Well, outside of Powers, as he said, what else he might want to write
Powers, he's doing the limited series Brilliant. He's doing Ultimate Spider-Man, and there's probably some other stuff that he isn't. He's doing Moon Knight too, but there's probably other stuff that he may want to do at other points. But he's like, these 3 books, I'm going to walk away from these 3 books for a while because I've been here long enough.
Little Lulu, Richie Rich.
Little Lulu, yeah. I mean, Marvel.
Pretty couple hours.
By the time he gets done with those books, I think the Jeff Johns, Jim Lee run on Justice League will be over with.
Yeah, it's true.
Hello.
Hi, Jeff. How you doing?
Hello.
You heard it here first.
Anyway, back in the X universe, Age of Apocalypse, the huge event back in the mid-90s where they rechanged the timeline and it affected every single X book. Where have I heard this before?
Yeah.
It affected every single X book and ran through all the X books for 4 months. Age of Apocalypse, which they've revisited once, I think, maybe twice. Once, I think.
Oh,
It's coming back big time.
But it's coming back as a regular series because
It's a regular series.
It spins out of the end of the Dark Angel arc that just ended in Uncanny X-Force.
X-Force 8, Uncanny 18.
The bag which somebody dies in that issue, I believe.
Yes.
I'm not going to tell you who. I wouldn't spoil it. But it's from the team of David Lapham and Roberto.
It's Wolverine. He gets killed.
And Roberto De La Torre, who's
I believe
actually a hell of an
that.
artist. Now, but yeah, this book will be starting in March. March is a lot of #1s coming from a whole bunch of companies, except DC. They got the 52.
Well, DC did the 52.
They haven't killed anything yet.
Yeah. Astonishing X-Men. One of the things that Marvel's just did recently was they canceled a bunch of titles, and that means a bunch of creators are floating around out there with no work to do. Astonishing X-Men is going to become the home for one of those teams.
X-23's Marjorie Liu and Mike Perkins are going to be the permanent team on the book starting with number 48. Astonishing X-Men has had no regular creative team. It's by 6 issues, somebody goes away, 6 issues, somebody goes away. The book will now have a permanent team because Leo was there and she goes, well, I got nothing to do. And they went, well, we got this book, you want to do it? And she goes, oh, hell yeah. So she's working.
Okay. A few minutes ago, we talked about Brian Bendis leaving the Avengers after an 8-year run. Someone who has had not nearly as long a run, but quite an influential run on the character, is, of course, Jason Aaron on Wolverine, who has also announced that he is walking off into the sunset.
His last arc on that book will start with the oversized 300. The arc will introduce a new Silver Samurai. It'll have Wolverine based in Japan, and he said it's a culmination of everything he's been working on since he wandered over the book. And so now, if Jason Aaron's doing this, and Scalp is coming to an end, a bunch of other stuff is coming to an end, could he be one of the guys taking over the Avengers? It's possible.
Well, he could be also taking over Justice League when Jeff Johns and Jim.
Well, no, he's got. Well, yeah, it's true. Well, Johns is the vice president. Unless he gets fired, he's not going anywhere.
Well,
but Jim Lee,
I don't think he would be, but that doesn't mean he can't stop writing.
Yeah, but Jim Lee,
Dan DiDio over at DC. This is turning into DC news. Dan DiDio over at DC is president of the company.
Yeah,
and he's writing. He's got no business writing, so it hasn't stopped him.
Well, but they can't work for other companies.
Well, if your contract's up.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
Anyway, that's it. We're done. We're finished right here. We got no more Marvel news, but you can go to the store's website, check out all the Marvel news that this man sends me that I post up. It is Boxo News. And where's the store's website at with that Boxo News?
Sarah, tell them.
And here it is, the lovely website, www.maraltonetrally.com.
Cool.
So, stop off at the store's website and check out all of this man's news. And until next time, this is Comic Book Man.
And this is Wolverine.
Saying, Happy holidays, everyone. Merry Christmas, Happy Chanukah, Happy
Joyous
Kwanzaa,
Noel, Happy
Joyous
Festivus!
Noel, Happy Festivus, which is the most important holiday this time of year.
Holiday for the rest of us.
Bye!
The Video Outhouse is brought to you by some of the finest people willing to work for free. This is a list of some of them.